Welcome. Let's talk about FCRA amendments and the concern, the worry of especially Christian organizations, Christian NGOs who are receiving donations from foreign countries. First of all, I still wonder why even Christian organizations, they're worrying about if Modi government is uh, making guidelines stricter, then why Christian organizations are worrying is my worry. Because Christian organizations, the Christians are themselves, they say, they teach morality, they teach honesty, they teach, non-corruption, because Jesus himself is truth. They talk about truth, fairness. The center, the concept of Bible. So the Christians are meant for those who don't do mistake. The Christians are meant for those who don't do mistake. Then why, if the government is strictly implementing FCRA rules, and why should you worry about all these things? Okay, first of all, it's okay, but even for namesake, maybe Christian organizations, but most of them, they do 100%, they do some 80-90%, honestly, they serve the society. The 10-20%, even Christian organizations here and there, they divert the funds for personal use and for personal families and the owners of the NGOs, and they do also a kind of little bit of 1 or 2% corruption. Maybe that's what they're worrying about FCRA and all, because the government is tightening slowly. Here, the most surprising thing is that the government, which is tightening the FCRA, aiming at Christian organizations who are actually serving the poor and marginalized societies. The same Bharatiya Janata Party, backed up by RSS, they're also doing so many social activities and social services, but they're not doing any. First of all, they don't have even registration. First of all, they don't have even registration. They're also doing social service. These Christian organizations are also doing social service. But why there is strict rules targeting Christian organizations is the concern here. If you look at the pattern of how the amendments took place since 2014, in 2014, the first change was the administrative notification under FCRA 2010. They asked a clarification on foreign sources and compliance requirements. In 2014, the movement NDA formed under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The first administrative notification they sent in 2014, and they asked a clarification on foreign sources and compliance requirements. But in 2015, no major amendment, but large scale scrutiny. There is no amendment in the Act, FCRA Act, but the government authorities, they did large scale scrutiny of NGO registrations. They started, and thousands of NGOs, they faced compliance actions, and they closed thousands of NGOs. Mostly Christian organizations were targeted, and then all the FCRA accounts they closed. And 2016, there was an amendment in 2016. There is a retrospectively they changed the definition of foreign source, and foreign shareholding within permitted limits. So they most of the time this actually benefited political parties. Political parties they aimed political parties which were receiving foreign funding. So there was a foreign source, the definition they did, and along with the political parties, even Christian organizations were affected by this. In 2017, there was no major amendment, but they continued to do tightening of the registration renewals and compliance, and then so many NGOs they faced. In 2018, there was amendment. They modified foreign source definition, they extended the retrospective effect for 2016 change, because 2016 they modified definition and they redefined in 2018 that. 2019 there was no major amendment in FCRA Act, but these cancellations continued and renewals of NGO company and registrations, the scrutiny they continued, and many NGOs faced closure. 2020 there was a big amendment. This is the biggest amendment in 2020. So it shocked everyone because the major restrictions or NGOs receiving foreign funds, this is directly targeted Christian organizations. It looked like directly targeted Christian organizations in 2020. It affected because most of the Christian organizations were affected who were receiving foreign funds. 2021 new FCRA rules and implementation measures also that took place. Detailed procedure of they kept a rule that everybody should open account in SBI at New Delhi branch, and all the money should come there, and from there you have to use the money so that government may it may be useful for the government to track the who is receiving money. And all this. In 2022, there is another regulation amendment. The certain procedure relaxations they are given, technical amendments, somewhat that is a beneficiary relaxations they are given, because there was major hue and cry by these NGOs and all. 2023 to 25 there was no much amendments because election time. Mostly rule changes and notifications, but not amendments. It's only 2020 was the major amendment, but there was a speculation now in 2026 all NGOs are getting scared because they're going for a big change again. There is some bigger amendment they're going to do on the foreign FCRA Act. Most probably they're proposing to specify validity periods for receiving and utilizing foreign contribution. Legislation process is ongoing. And what does it mean that validity period for receiving and utilizing foreign funds? Means within this period you should complete utilizing the funds. The major change they're going to do. So this is exactly what happened in the, if you look at the time based. But the major change was 2020. They prohibited foreign transfer of foreign funds to one NGO to another NGO. They prohibited, because most of the NGOs they receive funds and then they'll give to the another NGO. So that they prohibited. The other one, they said they made it mandatory that SBI account should be opened in Delhi in 2020. Aadhaar made it mandatory, Aadhaar link, and administrative expenses cap also they kept. That earlier it used to be 50% administrative expenses and 50% you had to spend, then that reduced to 20%, and they said 80% you had to spend on the purpose for what you have received. So the government suspension powers also increased. The government powers they increased, and they suspended many NGOs and all. So public servants added to prohibitory category. So all these things actually they took place, major change in 2020. Now again there is one more change is going to come in 2026. But the most controversial amendments were 2016-2018 Finance Change Acts, political donations. It became more controversy because even political parties they made hue and cry. In 2020, ban on fund transfer between NGO to NGO also became controversial because they said you're not supposed to send one NGO to NGO. So these are all amendments that took place time by time and since 2014. But here surprisingly, they're aiming all the NGOs and all, and the people are questioning that you're also running an NGO. There is RSS is an NGO, right? RSS is also an NGO. But you RSS affiliated, so many NGOs are there and they are not even registered but receiving the funds. They're receiving the funds, and I mean, they're also doing social service, because if you look at the history, RSS also, they helped 2001 Gujarat earthquake. They spent crores of rupees. RSS, they only publicly said that our teams are working to rehabilitate all these affected people in 2001 earthquake. Our disaster relief they did. In 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, that time RSS actually they did charity work. And 2013 Uttarakhand floods, they helped flood victims. 2018 Kerala floods, they helped flood victims, RSS. So various cyclones, floods, earthquake relief, and everything they did it. But they don't have even organization. Forget about scrutiny, funding, rules and regulations. They don't have even organization. That's what actually Priyanka is asking. From where you are getting the money, from where you are helping all these people, but there's no money. I mean, there's no scrutiny, but small NGOs you are scrutinizing, and this is actually the other side is going on. RSS, they did even education, like Vidya Bharati kind of schools they are running, backed by RSS. The schools in rural areas and tribal areas they are running. Hostel facility for students and literacy programs they are running. Tribal and rural development also they are doing, like Vanvasi Kalyana Ashram, they started RSS, and then they are doing social service to tribal education, health camps, skill development, agriculture related, they are doing it. Health services also they are doing RSS linked groups. Blood donation drives they do, and medical camps they do, rural healthcare and eye camps they do. And when it comes to the service activities through Seva organizations, Seva Bharati, something as Seva Bharati, and slum development programs they are doing, orphan support, care for different help, COVID-19 relief also they did. So they distributed food packets and ration kits, blood donation camp, and assistance with hospital logistics, everything that. Even environmental activities they are doing, tree plantation drives they do, water conservation they do, village cleanliness, they are doing everything without registration, without complaints to the government, without giving the money. They are doing such a huge social service RSS, but there is no registration. So that's what actually, but the Christian organizations are being targeted. They say that why do you, why are you targeting Christian organizations are feeling that they are targeted. Actually, these are all FCRA amendments. FCRA amendment in the sense it applies to everybody. It applies to Muslims, it applies to political parties, it applies to like communal, like Dalit organizations, it applies, everybody it applies, including Christian organizations. But Christian organizations are worrying more than anybody. That's what when some people are asking me, Ramesh, please comment on this, and then I was thinking that why are you worrying? Because if you're honest, because your Christian organizations need to run your NGOs like a Christ, right? You say that the Christian organizations should run the Christian organizations like Christ, right? You do honestly. If you are perfect, if you are spending whatever the money you receive for poor, you distribute the poor. Don't do scam. Christian organizations also, you aren't supposed to do scam. You receive foreign funding and you do a lot of scams, and then it's supposed to be distributed to poor people, but the NGO owners and the Christian pastors and bishops, if you do scam, then you worry. That you don't worry. If you are honest and don't worry, and then just go under the current foreign compliance requirements, and then you do it. So that's what I want to say. So anyway, here the Christian organizations, definitely they are thinking that it's targeting them. But somewhat it's looking like that, because their organizations, they are not even registered, and then asking for all these requirements. And here, and what we say that especially the Christian organizations, if you are honest, if you are honestly running the organizations, if you are honestly spending the money, then why do you worry? And then just it's only administrative work, you do the administrative work. Okay, as of now, because the government is anti conversions and all, they're thinking that even social service is a conversion. They don't think beyond that. Okay, they think that even if you're helping someone, they think they're converting. If you're helping poor, they're telling converting. If you're helping old age people, they're thinking converting. You're helping tribals for education, they're telling converting. For everything, they're looking in the lenses of the conversion. This is the government. We cannot change the mindset of the government so far, because it is the NDA government led by Bharatiya Janata Party. They don't like the minorities and all. Then we know that what's happening, that Some people who are aligned with their political party, aligned with the NDA, they are not facing problems, but other people are facing problems. So all these are going on. So these are what I want to talk about FCRA. It will be even more stricter rules will come in the days ahead. If Narendra Modi ji wins again, he will even more scrutinize it on Christian organizations. But if you are honest, if you are honestly running the organization, if you are honestly running the charity work, the Christian organizations need not to worry. Because if you should run organizations like Christ, that's what I want to say. Don't do scams. At least Christian organizations don't do scams. But for saying, even if Christians get hurt, this is fact. The majority of Christian NGOs are corrupted. They do scams. The foreign money comes to the accounts to serve the poor. Right? In our villages, what happens in Andhra Pradesh in our villages? The foreign funding comes to serve the local Dalit communities. From 50, 60 years, Dalit communities are like this only. But the one who opened a charity organization, they're building the houses, they're building the cars. But poor people are not growing. The owners of the charity works are growing how? The question mark, right? So that's why if money comes to serve the poor, you serve the poor. That's it. That's all I want to say. Nothing to worry about. Thank you. Namaskar.